right. You know what I mean?
Right. And then, and you know, we're all normal. We're all, you know, I mean, we're human. So the thing is that, you know, so you're doing really, really good, and, you know, 3-4 weeks into juicing, and, you know, somebody, you know, offers to take you out, and, you know, you make the best decision you can off the menu, but you have a little bit of cooked food, and maybe the next day you do something else, and you're somewhere else. You don't ever want to insult the hostess. You know, eat what you can. Be gracious about it. But one thing that you notice right away is it's really easy to get right back on track, because there's kind of those few days of kind of eating good, but letting a few things happen that, you know, we're normal, we're human.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
you know, it's pretty easy to get right back on track, because what you ate yesterday was walking and talking today, and it's like, I don't feel too good. So it's just really easy to take a little pineapple and a handful of this and a handful of those greens and toss them into a blend tech and throw some coconut water in there and alkaline water, and zzz, you have juice.
Right.
So, and it does. It feels so much better. So now that this with the HCl, the hydrochloric acid, it also inhibits the activity of the hormone gastrin. So antacids cause less gastrin to be produced, and that stops when the gastrin is not being produced as much. It stops the hydrochloric acid production. So, you know, if you've got a diet high in undigested proteins, you know, that's a root cause of inflammations and cancers and skin problems, allergies. So the other thing is, now that the chyme is ready to pass into the duodenum, the hydrochloric acid stimulates the release of, it's called secretin. And that also helps with the regulation of the pH in the intestinal tract. So, cholecystokinin, that is also a hormone, and it regulates the emptying of the bile from the gallbladder into the small intestine, and the secretion of the enzymes from the pancreas. And all of these make their way into the small intestines. So the vagus nerve connects to every major organ except the adrenal glands. And you've heard about the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve, vagus means vagrant or wanderer. And what this nerve does is it kind of meanders from the brainstem through the torso, and it regulates everything from the heart and lungs, the medulla, the medulla area of the brain, you know, it regulates the stomach and the intestines. In the stomach, it controls the muscular contraction, so it tells the stomach when to grind, you know, harder. It also stimulates the hydrochloric acid, the pepsinogen, precursor to the pepsin, and the mucus protection against the autodigestion of the stomach. So the vagus nerve is triggered when we smell food initially, so it goes back to that aromatherapy and passing through the thalamus gland and kind of turning on the brain switchboard that then sends messages out throughout the receptors to say, hey everybody, get ready, it's time to eat. It's time to eat, get things working, and digest. So, it's the vagus nerve that actually triggers the saliva glands to start secreting saliva, getting ready to digest food down. So the duodenum is the first 12 inches of the small intestine. So there's very little absorption that takes place here. It's just kind of a holding and mixing area until it's signaled then by the stomach to empty into the small intestine, and it doesn't, and it doesn't need any more hydrochloric acid. So it regulates the chyme into the small intestine. 60% of ulcers, 60% of all ulcers are found in the duodenum. And one of the things that is a real culprit, and I think they started really diagnosing H. pylori more about the late 80s. And I think that's when they kind of discovered that bacteria that lived within the lining of the stomach, because it's easier for the H. pylori bacteria to hide out in all that thick mucus, because the stomach acids, the hydrochloric acid, would kill the bacteria. So it stays in the stomach. It stays in the stomach lining is where it's at, where that thick mucosal fluid mucus is at. So what ends up happening, the H. pylori hiding under the mucosal layer of the lining of the stomach, it's important that if you're put on an antibiotic to kill the H. pylori, or we've got a product that is GastroHealth, and that is specifically to kill that H. pylori. But just like with anything else, whether you're taking antibiotics or you're taking herbs to take care of something, you have to be consistent. You can't go missing a day or two or three, because then the bacteria gets hold again. Okay, and it's like with antibiotics, sometimes people will be prescribed antibiotics, and they'll take them for a week, and then for 3 or 4 days they'll forget, and then they'll take them another week or two. Well, what ends up happening is you're making that strain more resistant.
Oh.
So it's really important that if you get something, you do it exactly the amount of days.
I've always been horrible with pills.
And
horrible.
There's herbal things that you can do. So when you're taking care of something herbally as well, you're going to hit it with that too. If you're doing golden seal, echinacea, or golden seal and frankincense, or doing some oils, doing some capsules, you need to be very diligent with what you're doing. If you've got a really bad infection, you might be drinking silver, and you might be putting silver topically on that with the gel, or if you've got a deep wound, there's the dressing, the specific silver gel dressing ointment, golden seal to take care of infection, olive leaf, oregano. These are all things that will take care of any type of bacterial or viral problem that's going on in the body. So, but you got to be, you got to stay on it. If you're going to take them 2 times a day, they need to be taken 2 times a day. If it's 3 times a day, it's 3 times a day. So, and just do it till you're done. Do it till you're done, because you don't want it back. So, okay, so a lot of times this 60% of ulcers that are in the duodenum come from a bacteria called H. pylori. Stomach aches can also be a lack of B12 absorption. It can be incomplete digestion. It can be bacteria in the stomach, as well. So back to that low hydrochloric acid levels and ending up with that low hydrochloric acid levels and ending up with all of the indigestion because your food can't be digested down. And another thing is when you have a lack of enzymes constantly, you can be low on your calcium because if you're lacking the enzymes and you can't break down the calcium and regulate that properly either. So if you're low on calcium, that will trigger more of the stomach acid, and the stomach acid can be irritating. That's different than the hydrochloric acid. So, it's very, very important to make sure that all the food is chewed up and processed properly because, when it passes through the small intestines, once it's inside the small intestines, the chyme is exposed to the pancreatic enzymes in the bile, which ultimately break down the chyme into a component forms of protein, carbohydrates, and fats, all capable of being absorbed. So by the end of the passage through this small intestine, virtually everything of value in the body has been extracted by the chyme, and that means that all the water, the electrolytes, the sodium, chloride, potassium, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, they've all been broken down into their amino acids and glucose and fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and the phytochemicals as well. So it is extremely important that the digestive tract gets everything that it needs in order to properly break everything down. And then some of the other systems that are involved as well with the digestive tract here is not just the saliva glands and the sense of smell and all of that. Esophagus, larynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine. In the small intestines, to release those enzymes and bile is the pancreas and the gallbladder, as well as the liver. And the thing with the gallbladder is a small pear-shaped muscular sac that acts as a storage tank for the bile. So when you've had the gallbladder removed and there's no more bile, that bile helps with keeping the fat, converting fat to be water soluble so that the body can break it down and get rid of it. So when you don't have the gallbladder, there's a problem with that bile. And so one thing that works really well for that is, not only the food enzymes and the hydrochloric acid, but the other thing that works real good is digestive bitters. Digestive bitters work very well, and the liver responds very well to the digestive bitters on being able to help the liver, break everything down. The liver does over 500 processes in the body.
Wow.
So you stop and think about, we've got the brain that has everything going on, but I'm going to tell you, an internal organ, the liver, it is incredible, the things that the liver does.
Interesting.
So over 500 functions.
Wow.
with the liver. So back to the gallbladder. The bile is made in the liver by liver cells, and then it's sent through tiny ducts or canals to the duodenum. That's the top 12 inches of the stomach. The gallbladder, not the top 12 inches of the stomach, it's the top 12 inches of the small intestine. is the judging.
That'd be a
Yeah, it's
big
like,
stomach. Huh?